Max Verstappen won a chaotic rain-hit Dutch Grand Prix to claim a record-equaling 9th successive F1 victory. Red Bull's Verstappen overcame huge downpours both at the start and towards the end of his home race to match the record set by Sebastian Vettel with the same team in 2013. Fernando Alonso took second for Aston Martin, while Pierre Gasly claimed his first podium for Alpine in third, benefiting from a penalty for Verstappen's Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez, demoted down to fourth. Verstappen had claimed pole on a wet-dry qualifying session on Saturday, but quickly lost his lead as heavy rain on the first lap led to a major reshuffle in the order as track became more suited to winter tyres and the slicks the whole field were on. Perez, who was one of 7 drivers at the end to fit the first lap, claimed the lead as he sight through the field, but Verstappen came out in 13th after stopping a lap later, would quickly work his way back up to second. With the rain having relented and the surface favouring the slicks once more, Verstappen was able to reclaim the lead. He pistoned lap 11 to benefit on an undercut, who emerged in a second when he stopped a lap later. Verstappen looked to be cruising towards victory before he opened up a 10-second lead over Perez before another band of rain hit with 12 laps to remain, and chaos ensued as a heavier shower than the one at the start saw drivers stop for inters, or in some cases wet, before the cars went on to backplane in the main street with a heavy crash for Alfa Romeo Zhou Guanyu, prompting a red flag. Following a delay of more than 40 minutes, Verstappen calmly controlled the rolling restart on inters to ease 4 seconds clear of Alonso. The main drama of the restart came when Ferrari's Carlos Sainz held off Lewis Hamilton for 5th, with Mercedes driver unable to crown an impressive comeback from 13th on the grid. McLaren's Lando Norris salvaged 7th, having dropped down the field early, but it was a late collision with fellow Brit George Russell meant the Mercedes driver was pointless after starting 3rd. Alex Albon capped an impressive weekend by taking 8th place for Williams ahead of McLaren's Oscar Piastri. West Ocon created a strong day for Alpine, claiming the final point. Verstappen will have the opportunity next weekend at the Italian Grand Prix to move beyond 9 successive wins for Seb Vettel in 2013. The victory also maintained Red Bull's record of having more wins than every other team this season. This team's record now stretches back to the end of 2022 at 14. Verstappen's latest triumph takes the 25-year-old closer to a third successive driver's title, extending his advantage over Perez to 138 with 9 more races remaining. The excitement among Verstappen's loyal supporters grew through the weekend, with the circuit having been packed out since practice began on Friday. However, the scenes in the hour before the race were unquestionably second, with fans in the grandstands overlooking the grid, creating a spectacular atmosphere as they wave the flags to contest the sound of electronic music. The rain, which had stayed overnight, forecast to largely stay away in the build-up to the race, finally arrived at the worst possible time for the pole sitter. The showers began on the formation lap, and by the time the race began, the surface was slippery. Verstappen opted to stay out in the lead rather than risk coming in at the start. By the time he came in at the end of the second lap, it was clear a change of tyres was necessary. While others had flustered to have lost 12 places, Verstappen calmly set about working his way to the front. After he effortlessly returned to second, he closed the 10-second lead Perez had built up, with the pace he had, the undercut advantage, it was quite easy for him. Verstappen's domination has been made more impressive by the wet conditions he repeatedly had to overcome this season, and the second deluge halted his home race delegations. Once again, his calmness was apparent, while others on the track struggled. Perez going off the track and going up second to Alonso. Verstappen kept his on the track. He even built up a big enough margin to make it a second stop for wet tyres as the rain intensified, while Perez incurred a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane while attempting to do the same thing. Alonso, who drove expertly to end Aston Martin's streak of 4 races without a podium, briefly threatened at the restart, but it saw Verstappen's challenge before Green's flag. It's incredible, Verstappen said. They didn't make it easy for us with the weather to make the right call, but I'm incredibly proud. Even the bad weather, the rain, the fans all going for it. It's still an incredible atmosphere. I'm going to enjoy the weekend. It's always tough. The pressure is on to perform, and I'm very happy to win. Further back, Hamilton's performance left Mercedes pondering what might have been for them on a more routine weekend. The 7-time world champion impressed in practice for only managing disappointing 13th qualifying, with teammate Russell taking 3rd on the grid. Both were handicapped by poor decision making in the opening laps. There's a big concern that the rain might relent. Mercedes waited until the 3rd lap to pit Hamilton, despite the Brit having nothing to lose. The indecision left Hamilton running in 16th, but even worse for Russell, who only pissed after 4 laps and dropped behind his teammate to 18th. I think we stayed up catastrophically too long. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff said, "We got it completely wrong. It's annoying as the car had real pace, but fought back gamely in the middle of the race, which got them back in the top 10. While Hamilton was denied 5th by some gutsy defence from Sainz, Russell suffered a puncture after colliding with Norris during an attempted overtake that left him fall to the back of the field. There was a similar way for Charles Leclerc, whose retirement with floor damage ended a torrid afternoon, of which the penultimate act was being overtaken by AlphaTauri's debutant Neil Lawson for 15th, who was driving in place here, injured Daniel Ricciardo, ultimately finishing in 13th, which is very respectable for his first F1 outing. With Ricciardo having undergone surgery, the New Zealander will drive for AlphaTauri once more in Italy next weekend. So yeah, big opportunity for him to impress. and show what he can do ahead of F1's next round in Monza next weekend. But before I go, let me run you through the classification. Verstappen, first place, yeah, really good for him. What can you say? Overcome some adversity, but delivered and did the job. And then you've got Alonso second. I think that Aston Martin at the moment just doesn't really have the pace to finish second, so that's a really impressive drive from him, you do have to say. Gasly in third as well, genius strategy by them, big points when it really matters. Perez in fourth, yeah, I mean, with the advantage he had, the strategy advantage at the beginning, he really should have done better than fourth, and I think he'll be disappointed with his show. Sainz in fifth, good drive from him to defend from Hamilton at the end, who was sixth, and yeah, just shows him weekend of missed opportunities, like I said, could have been a really good drive from him, but no, in the end it wasn't to be, and yeah, he'll be frustrated with that. And then you've got Norris in seventh. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that as well. Could have hoped for a bit better. Albon in eighth, still solid point scoring for him. Piastri ninth, decent result for McLaren, I'd suppose. But I think, yeah, felt like it could have been better. Ocon 10th, I think it'll be frustrating. Maybe didn't quite get the strategy right, especially with Gasly up there in third. So yeah, it'll be frustrating for him. Stroll as well, dropping out the points. He'll be frustrated with that. And then you've got the likes of Haas, Alfa Romeo, etc., down there on a day where they really hope they could bag points. Sargent as well, who couldn't even start. You know, stuff like that, which just makes it really disappointing. And they'll be hoping to do much better than that. And then you've got Russell, and his day was just a bit of disaster from start to finish. Some of it was his fault, like with the crash. Some of it wasn't, with the poor strategy, etc. But yeah, just a day of missed opportunities where I think a lot of guys will feel down the order. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, notes, daily F1 news and scroll. Greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.